we are going to look at some more information in topic 2. Specifically, we want to look at converting numeric input, or I should say strings to numeric input, just by looking at this example here. I'm not going to type that out right now. But whenever you read anything in from the console, when you use a console.readLine, it comes in as a string. You need to convert it to an integer or a numeric value that you want to use if you're going to use that. And so this convert to int is going to take the string input, convert it to an integer, which then allows you to assign it to an integer. So that's the first kind of a big thing in topic 2. The next thing where I'm going to spend most of my time right now is the formatting the output. So first of all, pay attention to these little links from time to time. Try to read through all of this information. It's very useful. The code below is from docs.microsoft, and I opened that up, that link, and that link leads me to all of this information that we went to before with the string library. And so you can kind of get lost in this, but if we go down to examples, you can see where that example is coming from. And so you could copy the code from here, or you could copy the code from the web page for our class, and I'm putting it into just a demo program that I use just for testing things, and I'm going to run it and see if it works. And it may or may not work the first time. We are kind of lucky, and it shows me what this output does. Now, these outputs are using what we call format specifiers, which specifically tells us how we want a number to be printed. So currency is printed with a $sign in 2 decimal places. So anytime you're dealing with money from now on, you should print it using currency. Decimal, scientific notation uses the E notation. Fixed point is going to tell you that's including decimals. And so there's details that we can look into for each of these. Percent prints it as a percent sign. But I want to talk more about how you kind of read and how you construct the format specifiers when you actually create your output. So if you take a look, this output is a single right line, and they have concatenated with the plus sign all of these different examples. When they use that format specifier, also notice that they use a 0, colon, and then some specifier, or they use a 1, colon, and some specifier inside the curly braces, which is inside the quotation marks. The 0 and the 1 indicate which argument after this last comma. If I were to put this back up here on this line just to show you, you have 2 arguments after this comma, after that ending quote. The first argument has an index of 0, so anything here that has a 0 is indicating -1, 2, 3. And then the second argument has an index of 1. That is how we number indices in arrays. And so when it prints this output, it's using 0, 123, to print it with money. If I were to actually change this and tell it to print the -123.45f as money, and I re-execute that, we should get that decimal of 45 for like 45 cents. And so it changes the argument that it's using. And that's going to be important when we're setting up, which formatting do I want to use with which argument. And so your argument list here can be, much longer if you want. I wouldn't make it too long because then it kind of gets a little bit cumbersome. But you can have more than just 2 arguments there. Okay, I have another example I'm going to copy and paste in. So I'm going to just clear this out. Okay, I just set up a small example and we're going to finish it out. The goal that I want is to have my output say something like, Fred, your item costs $45.67 at a tax rate of 7%, and I want to include that special formatting. So I actually have 3 arguments that I'm going to use. Everything goes inside curly braces, and so I'm going to take inside quotation marks, and then for my formatting, for the first argument, which will be the first name, I'm just going to use the standard output, there isn't anything special, so I'm just going to put 0 there. And then I will say, I leave a space, your item costs. And right now, I'm going to do just a little bit of debugging and go ahead and run this and see if that's going to work. I need to do comma, and then I need to add that first argument, which is first name. So it will look something like this. I also have a typo here because I'm used to writing right line in a different language. I think that might come from that. But anyway, so right line like this. And so we're going to go ahead and execute that, see if it runs, see if it prints what I want. And so I'm just kind of testing as I go so that I can fix my little errors as I go along. And it says, Fred, your item costs. So that actually looks pretty good. Well, now I want to add in the next variable is going to be tax rate, and the item cost, and the formatting for that. It's going to be the first. It's going to be an index of 1, which is going to be the second argument, and I want it to print in currency. So it's going to be 1:C, curly brace, add a tax rate of, curly brace, third argument, index of 2, colon, and I want P for percent. And then I have to continue my list of arguments. So first name was the first argument, index is 0. I need item cost for my next argument, index of 1, and I need tax rate for my third argument, which has an index of 2. And so hopefully this will print out the way that we want it to. We'll just test it kind of quick here and see if it works. Probably will crash and burn because that's the way it goes sometimes. Looks like it's running. Fred, your item costs. It printed it in the currency I wanted, and it changed the percentage rate. So I'm actually pretty good, except I'm going to clean up just a couple of things. I want to put a period at the end here to make this correct. Also, if you noticed, I want a capital F here. And so this is also a little trick where I could change first name and use that substring trick to peel off the first name dot substring 0,1, and I'm going to then that pulls off the F, and then I want to change that to upper, and then I can just concatenate first name. There's more than one way to do this, but this is just what I'm doing right now. First name, and then dot substring from the first character on. It's going to substring the rest of it, and I'm not going to change that to upper. So that actually is going to alter or reassign first name to a capital F. It is not liking something, so I have to pause here for a moment. Oh, to upper is a method call, so I need parens on it. And that should fix it. So now hopefully we will get the capital F printed out for Fred. Cross our fingers again. Looks like we're doing pretty good. And then the last thing that I will mention is tax rate is usually a value that stays the same throughout a program. So honestly, it would be in my best interest to make that a constant. So this is just reviewing some information. So I'm going to do constant. Constants are named with all capitals. So I'll say tax rate equals 0.07. And then actually I need to put the data type up here, double. That will then replace this line of code, and I need to change, and this is also shows you like whenever you change variables like that, you can actually, I think there's a way to you can do some like search and replace, but I only have it in one place, so I'm just going to change it in that one place. Run our program again and see if I've got my formatting flag set up, see if I've got everything printing the way that I want it to, and it looks like we are pretty good now. So that's an example that showed you how to use the formatting flags in conjunction with a variety of different types and a variety of different indices. 0, 1, and 2 are your indices.